Hi, this is Kim Constable, and today I want to talk to you about going to muscle failure in order to stimulate more muscle fibers and promote more growth. So one of the biggest mistakes I see women make whenever they start in the gym is not going to concrete muscle failure in their final set in order to recruit more muscle fibers and stimulate more growth. So what do I mean by muscle failure? Well, I remember whenever I was prepping for a show and I changed trainers after the first show before moving into my second show, which was 3 weeks later. Now, I had been training long and hard whenever I was training by myself. My workouts were sometimes 1.5 to 2 hours long. I was doing 5 to 6 sets of things, and it was just an absolute exertion to get through all of the workouts. So whenever I changed trainers, I changed to a bodybuilder with 20 years experience who was absolutely enormous, obviously very successful at what he was doing. And he brought me into the gym for our first session and he said, well, let's train legs. So we did a couple of sets of leg extensions, and then in the final set, he said, we were doing 10 to 12 reps, and I reached maybe 12 reps and he said, keep going, keep going. So I did another 3 and he said, keep going, and I did another 5 and he said, keep going. And I was thinking, what on earth are we doing? Like 25 reps in my final set. I actually couldn't even move my legs anymore. When I couldn't move my legs anymore, he said, okay, good, you can stop. So I stopped. I was like, well, that was weird. So after the leg extensions, we moved on to Smith squats. So he put me on the Smith and I did 10 reps with the bar. And then he threw, 10 kilos on each side, and I did another 10 reps. And then he threw another 10 kilos on each side, and I thought, okay, this will probably be my final set. So I did another 10 reps, and I really struggled on the last 3 reps. And then he threw another 10 kilos on either side, and I realized we were going for a final set. Now, we were doing 80 kilogram squats when I had only been doing 60 kilograms for my top set. To say I was shocked was an understatement. So I managed the first 3 to 4 reps by myself. By the 5th rep, I was really, really struggling. And he had to just give me a little lift on either side with the bar. So I pushed up to 6 reps thinking he was going to let me stop. No way. He said, keep going, keep going. So I did 7. I was really struggling. He said, keep going. By 8, I felt like crying. He said, keep going. By 9, I was sounding like I was giving birth. And he said, keep going. And on the 10th rep, it took me probably 4 to 5 seconds to get from a full squat position to a standing position. Then he said, okay, now you're done. Boom, I re-racked the bar. That was concrete muscle failure. I had never trained like that in my life. If the gym program I was doing said 10 reps, well, I thought that I had to get to 10 reps. If it said 12 reps, I thought I had to get to 12 reps. And when I got to 12 reps, even if I still had more in the tank, I stopped. Now, that is the worst possible thing you can do, because whenever you're training, you want to try and recruit as many muscle fibers as you possibly can. But if you push to 10 reps and you can move 10 reps and you've still got more in the tank, then you have more muscle fibers to recruit. That's what failure means. It means that your body has recruited every single muscle fiber that it possibly can in order to shift that weight, and it literally cannot recruit anymore, and you cannot move that bar 1 more inch. That is what muscle failure means. So in your final set of your exercise, you should be aiming for muscle failure. If you don't hit concrete muscle failure, and by that I mean you cannot possibly move 1 more inch, then you keep going. If you have more reps in the tank, you do more reps. Or you finish at 10 reps, you re-rack the bar, you put more weight on it, and you go again. Even if you only hit 5 or 6 reps, if you go to failure, your body will have recruited as many muscle fibers as it possibly can, and your muscle will grow. So how do you go to muscle failure if you're on your own? Well, if you squat, you want to squat on the Smith, which means that if you really can't get up from your final rep, you just re-rack the bar and you get out from underneath it. Or if you're doing some kind of upper body workout, you just say to somebody who's walking by or someone else who's training, will you spot me in the final few reps? Other gym goers, especially guys, are used to spotting each other. They will have more respect for you if you ask for a spot than if you struggle on alone and don't push through to failure. So just ask, can you spot me in the final few reps? And they will be more than happy to come along and spot you. If you are not grunting, grinding, swearing and sweating in your final set of every single exercise, you are not working hard enough. One of the biggest mistakes I see women make, and one of the biggest complaints I get from women in my network, is that their muscles won't grow. They're working so hard in the gym. They're there for an hour or 2 hours every day, and they just can't get their muscles to grow. The problem is they're not hitting muscle failure. So the muscle has no reason to grow. Your muscle only has a reason to grow if you give it a reason to grow. If you can lift or you can bench press a 40 kilogram bar, and you bench press a 40 kilogram bar for 10 reps, then your muscle will not grow any more muscle than enough muscle to push a bench press at 40 kilograms. If, however, you go to 45 kilograms and you only manage 4 to 5 reps and then you get a spot in the last couple of reps, well, now your body realizes that you need enough muscle to push a 45 kilogram bar. So your body will produce more muscle fibers, your muscles will grow, and you will get stronger. If you always work to within the range that you have right now, you will never progress. You need to push harder. You need to progressively overload, preferably with weight, to make your muscle grow.